4.5 to go. Crawford not a starter, but definitely a finisher. Always in the game in the fourth quarter for Atlanta, either for Bibby or for Marvin Williams. Today, it's for Williams.
Played the most fourth quarter minutes of anyone in the NBA, Dan.
And hit a number of game-winning shots for the Hawks. Horford to that left shoulder again, not this time. Rebound to Mbah a Moute.
Well, that time he was off balance. Pretty decent defense, but you got to force a guy to where he doesn't want to go. Take away option number one.
Salmon's posting on Crawford. Ilyasova passes it up. 6 to shoot. Jerry Stackhouse. Tough fadeaway. Good defense there by Joe Johnson. Milwaukee fought so hard to get from 24 down to 7. Had to expend so much energy to do it. Johnson, yes.
A little 1-2 pick and roll. Mike Bibby sets it. A little confusion between John Salmons and Brandon Jennings, and Johnson gets the wide open look, and the Hawks have regained control up 12 here with 3.5 to play. See Bibby set that pick, giving Joe Johnson just a little window to get that shot off. Terrific scorer, as we know, and the Hawks look like they're going to get game one.
The Eastern Conference brackets, with Cleveland winning over Chicago today into game one. Boston into Miami is coming up later tonight. That game right after this one tonight here on ESPN. Orlando and Charlotte play game one on TNT tomorrow. Look at the numbers that Dwayne Wade put up in 3 games against the Boston Celtics this season. Can you win 1 against 5, or who's got to help him? Who's the most likely number 2 on that team?
Well, you like it to be Beasley and Jermaine O'Neal possibly too, but I'll tell you, when you play a superstar player, you're scared because he has a capability of winning a series literally by himself.
And Ray Allen had some. Now Ray Allen's been around the block a time or two, but he knows he's going to get a lot of time trying to defend Dwayne Wade, although it's not going to be a one-man job.
Well, can Paul Pierce be the player that he was 2 years ago when he was the best player in the postseason, including LeBron, including Kobe Bryant? Paul Pierce was that guy 2 years ago. He's got to regain most of that form if Boston has a chance.
A steal by Stackhouse. And Stackhouse lays it in to make it a 10-point game. Under 3 to go. The closest Milwaukee has been since way back early in this game, way back early in the first quarter, was 7. They've gotten it down to 7 on 2 occasions after trailing it at one point by as many as 24.
Well, this certainly is going to make this team feel like they can compete with the Atlanta Hawks going into game 2 if they don't get this game tonight. It's exactly what they needed to have happen after a 22-point deficit at the half.
And if Atlanta wins for Mike Woodson, the feeling will probably be one of more than relief. And hard foul, and it goes. Johnson wrapped up Mbah a Moute, who laid it in anyways.
How in the world did he even get that off? Joe Johnson, it looks like he had 2 arms wrapped around Mbah a Moute. He did, but he didn't get the basketball and he didn't get his arms. He had his shoulders, and he was able to finish. What a terrific play. And you mentioned something about 7 points. We got a shot right here if he makes this free throw, and there is plenty of time remaining. Oh, I'm sorry, I blew it.
They've had some chances at the line here in the second half to get even closer.
Yeah, Ilyasova missed a pair in a row, and you just can't afford to do that as you're climbing this huge mountain as the Bucks have today.
Johnson gets it back. 6 to shoot. Behind the back. Good help by the Bucks. Tough one. Yes! What a shot by Joe Johnson.
An ugly possession that turns out very, very beautiful. Crawford and Johnson have done that all season long.
Salmons, no. Rebound Smith. Now some patience. Atlanta will work the clock.
Well, the three-point line has hurt the Milwaukee Bucks this evening. Other than Brandon Jennings, really no one able to get it going from the three-point line.
They're finally exhaling a bit here in Atlanta, feeling that the win is secure with 1:22 to go and a 10-point lead after the Bucks gave them all they could handle in the second half. And a timeout by Milwaukee. We'll take the break and step aside. Atlanta leading by 10 in the closing couple of minutes here at Phillips Arena in Game 1. The official mobile app of the NBA. Log on now to NBA.com/GameTime for up-to-date playoff highlights, scores, schedules, stats, scenarios, and more. Dan Shulman, John Barry, Rick Bucher. Game 1, Bucks and Hawks. Atlanta by 10 with a minute 22 to go. In spite of a great performance by Brandon Jennings, didn't score a whole lot very early in this game, hasn't scored at all here in the fourth quarter, and still has 32 points. But it looks like it's not going to be enough. Jerry Stackhouse fouled by Mario West, who has re-entered the game. As soon as this one is done, we'll send you to Boston. Game 1 between the Celtics and the Heat. Kevin Garnett. And Boston getting ready for Game 1 against Miami. Utah, Denver later on tonight on ESPN. Jennings, 34, too shy of the NBA playoff debut by a rookie record, jointly held by Derrick Rose and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Pretty good company.
That'd be kind of a weird trio. For Jennings in there.
Again, the clock is the ally of the Hawks. We're into the final minute, and they're milking it. Johnson. Horford got caught in the air, stolen by Salmons, and a timeout. 22nd timeout, Milwaukee. Give them a lot of credit. No quit in the Bucks here tonight. It's got to be a concern to Mike Woodson how the Hawks played in the second half, and it's got to give Scott Skiles a lot of confidence that his team can compete.
Well, you have to credit this group. I mean, after a 62-point first quarter for Atlanta where it was a layup drill and they owned the paint, they only have 36 points here in the second half. Jennings was great in the third quarter, and more importantly, John Salmons got involved again. He really struggled early. He's been a difference maker for this Buck team in the second half of the season.
If they could have found a third scorer, Stackhouse or Rittenauer, somebody consistently, would have been a whole different game.
Yep.
And a foul will send Marvin Williams to the line. Nope, still not in the penalty.
They all think they're going to the line.
Yep.
Dan, but they're not.
First foul in the last 2 minutes. Next one will send them to the line.
Dan's right, guys. Take it out of him. Well, you know what? Milwaukee's got their work cut out, Dan. I mean, there's a lot of matchup problems that they have here. They're going to try Carlos Delfino guarding Josh Smith. That's an uphill battle. Ilyasova can't handle the strength of Horford. And Mbabute, you know, I'd like to see him guarding Josh Smith, but they put him on Joe Johnson. You know, Joe Johnson still had a pretty good evening with 22 points. So there's matchup problems all over for the Bucks. But the second half, they've got to feel good about themselves. Let's see if they can come in.
Back in Atlanta, an 8-point lead for the Hawks. Couldn't get the ball in. Had to use a 20-second timeout. Bibby will now try to inbound it for the Hawks. 38.6 seconds to go. Game 2 Tuesday. Game 3 not till Saturday in Milwaukee. And a quick foul. And now they'll shoot free throws. It'll be Marvin Williams. Salmons gambling, trying to come up with a steal. The injured Andrew Bogut, a season-ending injury, fractured hand, sprained wrist, dislocated elbow. And as he told Rick Bucher, he's got a long summer of rehab ahead of him, but trying to cheer on his teammates. It's all he can do right now.
Now remember, Dan, for Milwaukee, it's one game. They're down 1-0. You don't lose more than one game, regardless of the score, whether it's 1 point or you get blown out. And believe me, I've been in many situations, 30-point blowouts, even a 40-point blowout where our team has come back and won that next game. You can throw this out the window. The Bucks now believe that they can compete with the way they played in the second half, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were in for a tight one in Game 2.
Stackhouse, no. Mbabute, the offensive rebound, lays it in. And another quick foul. They'll send Crawford to the line. Jerry Stackhouse just joining the team midseason. John Salmons coming in the trade midseason, and that's when Milwaukee took off. After the Salmons acquisition, Milwaukee won 12 of their next 13 games. The only loss was an overtime loss in this building for a